This is a Positive Journey movement.
The other thing that they've done, and they don't find it serious, but they've called and they have the Army on standby. They think that that's some sort of a laughable, oh, you know, that we're just kidding. That, you know what? I'm sorry, but we take that very seriously. We take very seriously the fact that there's an army that is on standby. In 1995, when Dudley George was shot and killed over the Ipperwash thing, and out of that came an inquiry that said you don't use police, you don't use force with Native people when they believe, and we do, and know that we have a right to those lands. So what did the city of Brantford do? It coerced with its police station. That was leaked through the press, evidence that the police are calling up the politicians and saying, listen, you make the bylaws and we'll arrest the Indians, basically is what they said. And so that is how that whole process in Brantford started that led up to this whole court process and lawsuits and whatnot. The city of Brantford, instead of listening and learning from the past, instead of using the Ipperwash as a method of moving things forward in a better way, they chose to ignore it. They chose to do exactly everything that they were told not to do. And so today we have a situation where we've continued the fight, and in particular with HDI, and why we chose to fight that fight is exactly because of Dudley George. We don't want to see another Dudley George. We want to know that, and I know that we're fully capable of negotiating. I know that we're fully capable of resolving things without having to stand on barricades. And so that was the movement and the choice of the HDI, and also because of Canada's own laws. Bill mentioned a few of the court cases. There are other court cases that say, you know, consultation is the only way to go. And consultation isn't the Grand River Notification Agreement. It's not here, we keep sending you all these letters. I've gotten them through HDI. I don't know how many thousands we get on a daily basis or weekly basis. Bill would be able to attest to it too through the Lands Department. They continually send out notifications. We're going to do this, we're going to build that. That's not consultation. And it's not accommodation or reconciliation. And those are the key words that we've been saying to Ontario and Canada from the beginning of the reclamation of Douglas Creek, throughout the whole situation with the city of Brantford. You gotta talk. It's not okay to just say, here's a checkbook, how much do you want? Our people need and they want, and they will get land. And that's something that we said. In the Brantford negotiation, we stuck our necks out on the line a bit too and said, listen, you know, there's an area here, would you consider it if we go back? But you got to do similar to what the elected council did, is we need land. You need to show our people something. Because for 4 years they've been demonstrating, for 4 years they've been getting called into courts, for 4 years they've been getting criminalized. And that's just recent. I'm not talking about the past, I'm talking about just since 2006. Called into courts because they're doing and demonstrating in something that is so deep from within them. And when we talk about our law and our way of life, and that 6 miles deep, as the book that is funny that speaks about the depth of our belief in who we are as a people and our responsibility to the land, is not something that I can describe to you in a short time, but knowing that we connect to all of it, knowing that we have a responsibility not to just to the land but to our future and the environment. And so we've been working towards developing policies that are consistent with and beyond with even what the Grand River Conservation and all of those other areas of responsibilities within Canada, at least anyway, do. And the other point I'm going to hit on, I guess, because I'm trying to be really brief, and I know that you want to get at some questions, but in that same Spectator article, Monique Duran is one of the federal agents through the Indian Affairs, and in one of her comments in that Spectator article, she was referencing HDI. And I think she said Detler and Company, those rogues, I think was the word that she used, those rogues. And I immediately went to like the pirate type of thing, you know, like I thought, that's a rogue, you know. But it's like the method, right? She's accusing us of using methods of dishonesty or whatever. And I thought, wow, you know, when we sat down as a people and said, okay, how are we going to make an impact on Canada so that it understands that when I can't even speak, the court cases that said, like the Haudenosaunee Taku that said you have to consult, Dalgamuk came and said you have to consult, other cases said to Canada, you know, you have to consult if Washington. So how do we prepare something? And we looked at what Brand the Conservation Authority had. And we sort of modeled our process by that. So when she called us rogue for the actions that we were taking, I had to laugh because I thought, well, honey, then if that's the case, all we've done is sort of mock what you've already done. So you know what I'm saying? It's like look in the mirror, because how they got that land and how they continue to hold on to it is nothing short of pirate mentality, where they go in with the swords and stuff and take it. The other thing that I'm going to touch on, and I'm glad that I have this opportunity to be here with Bill, is because him and I, we sometimes knock kids, you know, in the areas that we do, but we have a history and our families go back a long way, and there's a friendship there and there's a kinship there, and regardless of how we believe, we both, and I hope that you don't mind me saying we, Bill, but at least from my perspective anyway, know that no matter what, we have to do what's right for our future. He said it, and I believe it, and that we come from two different areas. The elected system is there whether we like it or not. That's who Canada recognizes as the government. That's who they want to deal with. The traditional government has a history beyond any imagination, but it's still there, and it's still in existence, and it's in existence because of, to me anyway, the depth, like I spoke of, that's within the people, but also in the understanding and responsibility of carrying that forward. And so we sort of have a similar relationship, that there's these paths that we walk on. And we both have an opportunity to help and support the people in whatever ways that we can, them through the responsibility of the Indian Act, and us through our traditional ways and responsibility and connection with creation. And so we both carry that, and we both trying to work towards coming to a resolution. It's not easy because the history is deep within the Six Nations community. You watch the news, you see, well, you know, this bunch or that bunch is out there saying, and everybody's saying, well, who really speaks for Six Nations? When you look at it in that perspective and then look at Canada, you have the same thing. You have different parties that are there, that the government turns to. You have all the same things. And so it's not like we haven't been affected by colonialism. The difference, I guess, is that we carry a different way of battling. And for me in particular, and very much so, is on that spiritual level. And my involvement in this thing is not just about my belief of the rights of our people, but my belief in what the Creator gave to us in that law and that responsibility. And so the only other thing that I guess what I'll mention is there's also court cases that talk about that traditional government. The Chilcotin court case recently said you don't get to just deal with the elected council. The elected council was put there, yes, but more on the part of how, in working with the Crown, the voice of the people, and you hear that a lot from the people that are out there demonstrating. It's the people who are the government, and that's very true.
Stop resisting! The positive